I guess, are there a lot of health conscious people in Kentucky? I mean, yes and no. I live in Louisville, depending on how you pronounce it. Um, and it's sort of this liberal, progressive stronghold in the middle of a really conservative state. So, this city is a little bit unique. There's a lot of international hubs that come in here, so we have a pretty diverse population for a really small. I think there's only like less than 2 million in the city, in the metro area, which for cities in the US, not that huge. But for like health community or alternative things, it's a little bit, it's pretty good, I can say. Is it anything like, LA or San Francisco or New York? Probably not, but I can say there's a really nice group of practitioners here. There's a lot of yoga studios. There's great teachers of a lot of different arts. It's not out in your face. It's something you sort of have to seek out. And yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, I have a network of practitioners that I go to and people that I work with, people that I learn from, as well as like my Bagua teacher. And then there's tons of yoga studios. So it's really just what you're into. And there's a lot of really good food here. The whole farm to table, local food, fresh food thing is really gaining a lot of steam here. So there's a lot of restaurants opening up now, and even downtown in this one block, there's a lot of restaurants that have, local, organic, high quality food. They buy it straight from, the farmers, and that's like literally on the menu. It'll say from such and such farm, and it's really good quality stuff, and I'm pretty lucky to have that. Yes, I don't have a country accent. Not everyone here does. Some people definitely do. Other people, not so much. It's something I've been conscious to not have, but it definitely comes out at some points. Um, is it a police state here? No, not really. I mean, it's pretty laid back. It's pretty chill here, and depending on obviously, if you're a drug dealer or something, or committing a lot of illegal things all the time, it's going to be a little bit different scene. But you know, we can attract different experiences to ourselves. But long story short, it's pretty laid back. Yes, and it's true. There's a lot of obesity, a lot of fast food in this part of the country. It's like that for a lot of America, but Yum is Yum Brands, which owns like KFC and Taco Bell and yeah, all that stuff. They're actually located here. When was the last time I ate fast food? Probably like 2003, maybe something like that. 2004 at the absolute latest. Pretty yeah, yesterday. Actually, before I came on here. No, it's been a long time. Let's see. Let me go back. Do I think you should? Do I think you can take herbs daily, or do I think you should cycle? For some herbs, definitely cycling is better. Things that are really hormonal, things like tribulus or maca, or things that are really working aggressively on your hormones, cycling is really, really important for those herbs because they're doing so much for your hormones. And you'll notice that if you do maca or something for like a week, you'll feel really good, and then it sort of tapers off. So that's definitely one you need to cycle. For me, how I approach it, in number one, I don't think of it in such a rigid way, like, oh, you must cycle or else. I think of it more like, in two ways. Number one, if you have a specific imbalance you're trying to correct, I mean, if you have, like, say, an immune imbalance, you really want to hit that on a regular basis. But if you're someone who's just tonifying and looking for overall general health improvement, I see it as food. And just like you don't eat the same food every single day, you don't eat the same food 365 days a year. You take time, you take breaks off, you take days off, and sometimes you really crave it and you really want it, and other times not. So that's kind of how I see it and how I approach it. And again, you just have to kind of tune into your body. But long story short, it's good to take breaks, it's good to take times, because there's a lot of stuff you can take, a lot of stuff you can do, so it's good to just change it up and keep it fresh. Next question is, am I going to put the recording on YouTube? Yes, I will put it on YouTube. I'm recording it right now, actually. What do I think about going on a kombucha fast? probably be a little imbalancing, depending on how long you're going to do it, just because kombucha is so acidic that if you just did that on empty stomach for a long time, it might, it could be a little bit much on your digestive system, not to mention your teeth. So I probably wouldn't do that. Generally not a huge fan of fasting anyways, unless you're in a really extreme situation, just because it's not really practical for most people. And if you can go to a center, you can go to somewhere where you can, just leave all of your obligations behind and just concentrate on fasting and cleansing, sure, that's fine. Or if it's, like I said, a really extreme situation where you have to really lose a lot of weight or you really built up a lot of toxicity. And there's lots of other ways to cleanse other than fasting, and our body is always cleansing all the time. It's not this on or off process, but it is a process which we can facilitate and we can, really boost and really ramp up. So things like infrared saunas, which I just did one earlier today, that's a great thing. Things like skin brushing, eating clays, taking herbs, fermented foods, probiotics. All these things can gradually, keep the body cleansing and keep things moving out in a natural way. Also, chlorella is a great supplement, really one of my favorite supplements as far as, algae and superfoods that can help out with nutrition, but also cleansing and detoxification. So there's that question. Let me see. What's my take on coffee-based elixirs? I've done that before. Only a few times, because literally I've only had a coffee 3 times in my whole life, and they were all in elixirs, and it was okay. It's just what I noticed was a huge up and then a crash, and I didn't really care for that. Didn't say it was necessarily harmful, but I just didn't really care for the way it made me feel. For me, I like yerba mate or green tea. They're better sources of caffeine that work better for me. But I mean, a little bit of coffee, a couple days a week or a couple times a month, it's not inherently bad. Using it every single day as a crutch, there's going to be some side effects because it's not a tonic herb, it's not an adaptogen, it's not dual directional, it's just one directional, and it can really be detrimental to a lot of people's adrenals. But if you're going to use it as an elixir and mix it with other herbs, then you can start to taper off the effects of the caffeine, but also use the caffeine to potentiate other herbs. So if you're using it in a conscious, intentional way, occasionally, it's really not a big deal. But again, using it every day, definitely not a big deal. When you make tea with a bulk herb, what is a good portion to use in the tea? For me, I keep it really exact, and I just use a handful. Meaning, if I'm going to make a big pot, just a couple handfuls, and then cook that up. And that's pretty much how I gauge it. I don't really measure it out. I just sort of have my hand, and I just grab it, throw it in the water, and cook it up. That's usually what I do. And obviously, if you're going to use 5 herbs, use a little bit less. If you use 1 or 2 herbs, use a little bit more. Obviously, it depends on how much water you're using. If you're using like a gallon, you use more. If you're using like 16 ounces, obviously you want to stick to about a tablespoon of bulk herb, per 16 ounces or something. But again, the main thing is if you use less water but more herb, you're going to get a stronger tea. And if it's too strong, just add a little bit of water and dilute it down. So oftentimes that's what I'll do is I'll make sort of a tea concentrate, and then I'll have that, and then I can add a little bit of water to it and smooth it out if it's a little bit too strong. Because sometimes you can make tea that's just, you take a sip and you're just like, it just gets you in the face, and it's so bitter, it's so assertive that you can't really work with it. So then in which case you can just sort of dilute it down a little bit with water. Do I eat raw? I did for like 3 years or so, like 100%, pretty strict and militant. I don't anymore. I do eat, sauerkraut, kombucha, and kimchi, and all these live, raw, or fermented, cultured foods. I think really for raw foods, that's the most important thing. And for really any diet, the fermented, cultured foods is really the high leverage, the major fulcrum of the diet. As far as like eating lots of raw fruits or lots of raw vegetables, I don't really do it just because it doesn't really work for my metabolism. And I think for most people it can help them a little bit with eating a little bit lighter and cleansing and that whole aspect, but it can really be dampening and depressing to their digestive system And a lot of people who do raw over the long term really end up feeling worse after a certain period of time. But what happens is, and the downside is that we can work ourselves into this place where we only eat this very small box. We think everything outside of it is bad or evil, and that can really create a lot of problems down the road and over the long term. But again, some things obviously it makes a whole lot of sense to eat raw. If you're going to eat like salad greens, if you're going to eat like sauerkraut or kimchi or kombucha, or all these things, obviously you want to do that raw. If you're going to be eating animal products, some things you want to do raw. Obviously, it's going to be any dairy products. Raw is better. If you're going to be doing meat, definitely I'm not a proponent of eating that raw at all. I don't really like sushi. That's just my personal thing. I don't really feel too good about it. Obviously fruit, yeah, you're going to want to eat that raw. But a lot of vegetables, sure, we can physically masticate them and swallow them, but the fibers are so tough that a lot of people just get a lot of gas and indigestion and just feel horrible after eating lots of really fibrous raw foods. So for that reason, cooking is a good strategy to really break open those cell walls and expose those nutrients and break down the cellulose so we can then do it. I'm really a big fan of soups and broths and just really intelligently cooked foods, not necessarily frying things and deep frying this, not into that at all, but steaming or sauteing or baking or roasting, as long as you do it within reason. It's like anything, if you overdo it, it's gonna be imbalanced and really ruin the product. So there's a whole education as far as how to get the most out of food without, because if you have something and you don't cook enough, it's not that good. If you overcook it, again, it's not that good. So it's an art and a skill. So again, that's really where I'm at. I try to eat as much local produce, local food, and if I eat any sort of animal product, quality again is number one. Really, for any food you eat, quality is the number one thing, and eating right for your metabolic type is really the number one thing. So that's really how I approach it: is quality and what's really going to balance me out and level out the blood sugar for the longest period of time. So I could go on the whole 2 hours with that, but hopefully that answers that question, so I can get on to the next one. Let's see. How much weights do I lift? Actually, I don't lift any weights. As you can see, I'm pretty slim. I have muscle, but I'm just generally a slim guy. That's just my natural build, and that's how I feel the best. At one point, I did lift a bunch of weights and got my weight up to 180 pounds, and I felt horrible, and not do that anymore. So I pretty much just do Bagua and Qigong, and then I just started doing pull-ups and chin-ups again, which is just simple body weight exercises. But to me, I really like that stuff, and it feels good to me. We all have sort of a different frame, a different structure. So some people really enjoy lifting weights. For me, naturally slim, naturally kind of light on my feet, so I don't really want to be weighed down and bogged down with big bulky muscles. I'm more concerned with health, because from doing Bagua and doing Qigong, you can build up a lot of strength at a deeper level. Because if you just lift weights, most of the time you're just hitting the muscle. You're not necessarily strengthening the ligaments, the tendons, the supportive muscles, and all the secondary muscle groups. But training Bagua and Qigong, you can start to strengthen these secondary muscle groups and get a different kind of strength. But at the end of the day, health and fitness are both really important. It's just a matter of finding what you like and what works for you and what you'll actually do. Because exercise, there's a lot of different things, but in reality, it's just a matter of what you'll actually do. So are there any reishi farms in America? There's people that I know of that grow it, and from what I understand, you can grow it pretty easily as long as you have a log in some space to grow it. You pretty much just inoculate the log and it grows pretty easy. There's a guy that I'm friends with on Facebook who lives around here. You type in magnificent mushrooms on Facebook, he grows a lot of stuff, and I think he even sells kits and has a lot of educational material on how to grow mushrooms. So I would talk to him. He's just he's a wealth of knowledge and can definitely point you in the right direction if you're wanting to grow any of those mushrooms. Let's see. Took Tomcat Ali for 2 months straight. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on where your testosterone levels were at beforehand. But yeah, that's definitely not a tonic, and that's not something, unless you're a middle-aged man who has clinical low testosterone, I wouldn't really mess with or touch that herb. It's not really appropriate. There's some herbs that are not really appropriate for most people, and that's sort of, in a bigger sense, what I try to put out with a lot of my videos and podcasts is that there's a lot of really great stuff, and not all of it is applicable to everyone. Meaning, I was at a health conference once, and there's a guy on stage, a doctor who's in his 60s. He's talking about the importance of building testosterone, minimizing estrogen, taking all these herbs and supplements to boost testosterone. Yet, the audience was a lot of women. The audience was a lot of younger guys, 18 to 20 to 21, 22. And sure, there were some middle-aged men, but there were a lot of younger guys. And they walked out of there thinking, oh, I gotta boost my testosterone, I gotta minimize my estrogen, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. When in reality, that information is not applicable to someone in that age group, because for men, our hormone levels are at their peak at those times. So really, that's not appropriate. Things like tom cataline, pine pollen, and D-rantler, some of these really aggressive herbs, just not necessary for really young men. And unless we've done some hormone testing to verify, okay, yeah, I really have low levels, or we know for a fact that we have low levels, it's not always a good idea to take large amounts or take these herbs for a long time. And again, I'm a fan of getting hormone testing done, just because it can really give you a good objective basis for where your levels are at. So there's that question. Tom cataline is pretty strong stuff, and it works. Can you grow reishi mushroom in your backyard? Yeah, definitely. Again, look up my friend Magnificent Mushrooms on Facebook, and he'll probably help you out. For the magnesium oil, can you take too much? Is there a toxicity? Doubtful, and I've never seen anything which suggests that. Just because I think the body has certain regulatory mechanisms, which if you're absorbing it through the skin, the body might say, all right, we don't need it anymore. So there's that, and granted that's theoretical and there needs to be more research done, but surveying the books, surveying the research and the documentation that's out there and all the case studies and talking to people, I've never seen anyone saying, oh my god, I overdosed on magnesium, or oh my god, my magnesium levels are too high. It just doesn't really seem to happen, and doesn't really seem to be a concern with the oil. And plus there's just sort of a regulatory mechanism, because you can really only rub so much in, and you'll notice sometimes it just really won't absorb as well, and sometimes it'll really feel like it just goes right in. And it's kind of an interesting thing. So hopefully it answers that question. Let's see. What do we got next? Can you take too many supplements? Yeah, definitely. Definitely can. I've done it. I've done it for a while, and yeah, you definitely can take too many supplements. What I like to say is focus on small things and really fine tune it there. Meaning start with your end result and work your way back. And if you have a whole lot of different things that are really imbalanced, then the thing might be, okay, well, let me focus on some really high leverage things, meaning like magnesium oil. It's a really high leverage thing. Magnesium is involved in so many things. Or something like gynostemma, really broad spectrum. That's would be a way to target. If you're taking lots of 5-HTP and L-theanine and GABA and fish oil and just so many different things, you can get overwhelmed and get sort of stimulated. So for me, sometimes it's better to simplify and figure out what are your top goals and say, all right, my top goal is this. And then focus on that for a set period of time. Say, all right, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to focus on this and really, really dive into this. And then you're going to say, all right, well, it's been 2 weeks. How do I feel? Am I improved? How have I improved? How much? Do I need to keep doing this, or do I need to try something else? So just being a little bit more systematic and organized with it. And for me, it's really important or really cool to just get like a journal or something and just, have little notes and just write things down and keep track of what you're doing. Let's see. What are my thoughts on marijuana? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that question. So many times. people submitted the questions. There was like 5 people were like, "What do you think about marijuana? What do you think about ganja?" And then on YouTube, so many videos. I've made a couple videos on that talking about it, so I'll talk about it again just to be brief. But things like that, it's really complex for a lot of reasons. Number one, the legal issues. Obviously, in a lot of places in the world, it's illegal. So if I were to get on here and talk positively or advocate something which is illegal, there's obviously some liability issues on that front. But then there's the whole other thing. It's used for medical purposes in a whole lot of places all around the world. There's a lot of research indicating it has positive medical value. There's a lot of history indicating it has positive medical value. Not to mention cultural value, historical value, as far as, you know, the hemp thing and all of that. And again, you know, in college, I will say, you know, I'm 27 now. You know, in high school and early college, you know, I had my phase experimenting with things like a lot of people did, and I was that I was that guy, you know, who wrote the research paper on hemp and wrote the research paper on marijuana in the writing classes and the presentation classes. You know, if you've ever been in a college class, there's always that one hippie who's writing about the hemp or writing about the marijuana, and that was me in my class. Fortunately, there was a lot of research, and it was a really easy thing to do, and I actually got really good grades on all that stuff because it was interesting, and it was kind of mind-blowing. And the whole war on drugs is just a joke and a disaster from any which way you approach it. It's a really immature policy to say, oh, drugs are bad, yet 4 out of 5 Americans are on drugs, but drugs are bad. I remember thinking that as a kid. I'm in DARE class, and then oh, drugs are bad, fear drugs. But then, like, I walk out, what's that drugstore doing? Oh, there's another drugstore. Oh, there's another drugstore. Oh, wait, all these people are on drugs. I'm confused. So it's just a really silly policy. Granted, there's a lot of substances which, you know, are not tonic herbs and have to be used with care. So in no way, shape, or form do I think things like marijuana should be used, you know, kind of recklessly, because these things can be dangerous. They can bring deep things to the surface. They can move things around. They can open you up to other things. So it's just not something you really be messed around with and toyed with, and people can get into trouble. And I've seen people freak out. I've seen people's lives really just messed up through drugs. But I'm not saying drugs are bad, but I'm not saying that they don't sometimes bring out what's already in someone. And there's a thing in Limitless where he's saying, you know, oh, NZT is awesome, but, you know, it helps if you're already smart. So that's obviously something to keep in mind too. So, you know, obviously it's not a tonic herb, and it does have side effects. And really what tends to happen is people use it all the time, and they think that there's no side effects, but everyone around them is like, this guy, you know? So it's just not something to be really toyed around with. I think it can be beneficial in very certain small contexts, but to just be thrown around carelessly can sometimes lead to, you know, unsavory situations. And I've seen these, I've witnessed these, I've experienced these. I'm not saying these things are good or bad. These are just really the facts. And yeah, could go on and on about that. Let's see. Hopefully that answers the marijuana question, because I've gotten it so many times. And I don't know, people just assume because I'm into herbs and natural health that I'm just like a big stoner, but it's not. It's not the case. Which, if you want to know the truth, basically what happened was, through my experimentation phase, I was also studying yoga and meditation and energy work, internal energy work, and also NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, while also overhauling my diet and cleansing and taking herbs and all these things. So really now, the way I see it is, when I have taken marijuana in the last few years, it really just brings me down and imbalances me, and really doesn't provide what it used to do in any way, shape, or form. And you know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, drugs are bad, just get high naturally. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you really get your energy in balance, you really get your physical body in balance, you really build a solid foundation, you can be extremely high all the time, yet be grounded and rooted in your body and be in the present moment all the time and be experience states of consciousness naturally that sort of make drug-induced things look kind of silly and imbalanced. So, and I have that whole idea outlined as for like a book or an audio course, as far as just putting this information together, because it's really unfortunate because there's all of these people. Yes, I've had a lot of Kundalini experiences. Just to answer that question. Just what was I going to say? You made me forget. Oh yeah, because there's a whole this generation of people who we're all craving this spiritual experience. We're craving this altered state of consciousness. But usually what happens is the first thing that we're sold is this sort of like washed out, tripped out, hippie, ungrounded, like drug program. And that's really our only alternative. So we're thinking, okay, I've got this, matrix mentality, or I've got this like hippie stoner, like tripped out, weird drug culture. And then people are stuck with this like really, two poor choices. So that's, for me, I don't think either are ideal, and there's a way to sort of transcend that duality and get to a much more free and empowered place. You're doing the things which I always talk about, working with your mind, working with meditation, working with your body, getting your energy flowing, because this is the big thing, is like we're all into like energy and holistic health and all this, but the foundational basis of all of it is energy. So that's really where the main focus should be. And I don't mean energy in like, dude, I put this crystal on my third eye and like set my intention and I like tripped out. What I'm saying is really tangibly learning to feel the meridians in your body, learning to guide energy in your body, learning real ways to absorb energy from nature and absorb energy from the environment around you, meaning Qigong, which means energy work. It doesn't mean energy pill, it doesn't mean smoke a joint, it doesn't mean use your intention, no, it means work. It means time and energy in an investment, and on that you'll get a better return than if you just pop a pill and sit down and think everything's going to be solved. Same thing I think about mushrooms, I think about marijuana, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, sorry about the ads, man, this kind of blows. I didn't know it was going to be that long, or that they would keep, sorry, I didn't know they were going to keep popping in like that. The next one will be ad-free. I just couldn't get it set up in time. So, yeah. As far as Qigong and Neigong, it's really hard to separate. And, answer that question, how can you really guide energy in your body if you're bound up with tension and tightness and you have poor circulation? So, you obviously need both. Let's see, have I raised my Kundalini? I mean, I've had a lot of really weird, interesting spiritual experiences over the years, and there's definitely been some Kundalini stuff that have happened. So yeah, I definitely have experienced some weird stuff along with that. What I think about acupuncture, huge fan. As long as you have a good practitioner that you feel solid with, really set your intention to connect with someone that's authentic and real. Someone who's not just going to like look at you and give you some textbook BS analysis. Someone who's really going to look at your shin or look at your spirit, look at you as a person and address that. What herbs are conductive to Qi? Lots of herbs. Astragalus would be a good one. Gynostemma. It just depends on what you mean by conductive to Qi. If there's imbalances, obviously formulas might be good. But really, if you really want to fine-tune Qi, movement, exercise, and breathing are really going to be fine-tuned to really get that in like a quick, more tangible way. We can't always rely on things from outside of us. We have to start to build that foundation. Any tips on motivation? Do things that you like. Do things which excite you and are worth doing in your mind. Kind of like when I was in school and I had to study some stuff that I absolutely hate, the motivation that it required for me to do that, really hard. Yet side by side with some stuff that I was really into, maybe music or philosophy or Chinese philosophy, no motivation required. I wanted to do it. I looked forward to doing it. So that's really just a quick and easy hack for motivation. And for really the root of that, I think it's just people doing things they don't like to do. Or if they do want to do something, not believing that they can actually achieve it, or being not necessarily getting in this dualistic idea of, oh, I know I can achieve it, I know I can do it, and thinking positive, but suspending disbelief and thinking, well, you know what, maybe I can do this, maybe I can't, I don't know, but I'm going to do it because it's going to feel good, I'm going to learn, I'm going to grow, I'm going to be in a different place, because really, we're born and we're going to die. So there's this space in between, and do you want to spend it just sitting in front of the TV or sitting on YouTube all day, or do you want to spend it, doing things which excite you and challenge you and bring you outside of yourself? And that's really, where it's at. And for motivation, it's just, that's kind of the bigger picture. How many times or meals do I generally eat? Usually eat 2 meals a day. I usually have like an elixir in the morning, and then I work out, and then I have 2 other meals. Sometimes I just will have 3 meals a day. I wake up, have breakfast, and then, lunch and dinner. It just depends, really. What do I think about orgonite energy? I guess it's cool. I don't really focus too much time or energy on it just because it's a little less tangible. Meaning if I have 4 hours of leisure time in the day, I would rather spend it doing qigong or doing meditation or walking in nature or doing things like that, which are really rewarding and really produce tangible results. So that's kind of how I approach it. I'm not against it, but yeah, as far as man boobs, I don't know. If it were me, I would obviously change my diet and exercise and start to put on muscle and start to really probably hit up infrared saunas, things that can burn fat. I should smile more. It's not as easy as you think staring at a camera. Especially you're sitting in a room staring at a camera. If you're sitting there like smiling all the time, it can look a little creepy. So I just try to let it be a little bit natural. Can testosterone levels get too high? Yeah, definitely. I'll show you. Well, let me show you. Here I have the results of my hormone test, which I had about a year ago. My testosterone was 4 times the normal level. Almost. The normal range for testosterone is 60 to 110 picograms per milliliter. Mine was 382. So yeah, you can definitely do some serious things with testosterone. So you have to be careful. That's why when people are putting out pine pollen and deer antler and all these things, it's really powerful and can really lead you too far in one direction, especially if you're eating well, especially if you're working out, especially all these other things are balanced. So it's just really important. That's why I think if you're going to do side effects of high testosterone, I did some research on it, and basically what I could find was the side effects were in increased likelihood to engage in risky behavior, increased propensity for drinking and smoking, and casual sex. So in other words, you're more likely to have a lot of fun. As far as being angry, no, I didn't notice that. Do I still take pine pollen and deer antler? No, I don't need to at all. Because my levels were pretty crazy. Now, obviously, if you're doing, steroids or things like that, then definitely, yeah, there can be some problems. Testicular shrinkage, all that stuff. So yeah, that's a pretty crazy combo. No, I don't drink. Actually, I drink occasionally. There's 2 forms of alcohol which I do like. First, it's called Lambrucha. It's pretty badass. You should look it up if you're interested in all. I don't really drink that much, but if I do, it's only these 2 things. The first one is Lambrucha. Oh yeah, mead too. Forgot about that. So yeah, Lambrucha. Just typed it in. It's actually a lambic beer mixed with kombucha, and then it's fermented. It's fermented like 3 times. It's crazy stuff. It's really good. Number 2, there's this unfiltered, unpasteurized hard cider. It's organic. It comes from France. It's pretty good. And then 3rd, yeah, mead. But again, I don't really drink too much. It's not really into it. It's not inherently harmful. It's just really, you know, what works for your metabolism, what works for your personal, you know, constitution. Do I do bone marrow washing? No, not really. No, I do. What kind of deodorant do I use? None. I haven't worn deodorant since like 2004 or something, and I really don't smell. I mean, obviously, if I went outside and worked out for a couple hours and got all sweaty, I'll have a little aroma, but yeah, I just don't really worry about it, and it never seems to be an issue. You know, at first, obviously, it was a little more, but you know, I don't really worry about it. I think for men and women in relationships, the your BO or your body odor is like really important. If you don't like your partner's BO, then it's like it's probably not a good idea. How often do I eat meat? Every day, probably. I mean, I don't eat it 3 times a day, but if I have 2 or 3 meals a day, it's probably going to be in there at some point. You know, and obviously, it's not something I'm like uptight and rigid about. There's many times where I'll eat, you know, totally vegetarian or totally vegan meals just because I want to, but it's not something I really, you know, worry about too much. It's more so just listening to my body and figuring out what I want. What are the side effects of not having sex for long periods of time? If you're a guy or a girl, it's different, obviously. Yeah, definitely what they said. I don't, as far as like withholding the essence or brahmacharya or chastity, I don't really think it's that healthy or sustainable. It's a little bit imbalancing. Obviously, if you're going to do it for short periods of time, that's a different thing. But for long periods of time, it's just not really natural, and it kind of goes against nature. It really just creates stagnation and imbalance. So obviously, there's a balance in there. If you do too much, it can be depleting. But if you don't do enough, it can be really imbalancing and cause stagnation as well. So just about a balancing thing there. I can't concentrate to meditate. My mind races. What can I do? Join the club, dude. I mean, it's called being a human. Everyone's mind races when they meditate. It's just part of the process. I mean, you just sit down and meditate, your mind goes all over. It's just a process, sticking with it, learning to relax your body and calm down your breathing. And over time, you get better. It's like any skill. When you first start off, not that good, really struggling with it. And then over time, you get better. Have I ever been in a flotation tank? Have I ever floated? in dreams, yeah, I've flown plenty of times in dreams, but I've been in a flotation tank. I did it once in Venice Beach in California. It was okay, but I did it at 6 o'clock at night, and I was hungry, and I was getting ready to go eat dinner. So it wasn't the best time. I think if I did it first thing in the morning when I'm more ready to meditate and I haven't had a whole days of thoughts running around my head, I think it could have been better. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty relaxing. And you know, if you need to de-stress and chill out, definitely check it out, because you're floating in a solution of Epsom salts, so that'll chill you out. Anyways, I definitely, you know, it's fun. And if there were more ones around here, I would do it. What are my thoughts on tooth fillings and dental health? Obviously, if you have mercury, probably not a good idea, because it's one of the most toxic substances on the planet. So try to hook up with holistic doctors and get that taken out. As far as dental health, it's really important and should be at the top of priority, and should, you know, floss every day, use a tongue scraper. Actually, I did a whole video on the dental care, and I think it's really important. I actually make my own toothpaste, and it's really easy to do. Daniel Vitalis did a video on how to make your own toothpaste. I sort of just took that idea and evolved it a little bit, and just because you can make it really cheap and really easy, and is like way better than anything you can get in the store. So for me, that's what I do. For soap and stuff like that, I just use Dr. Bronner's, because you can get a big bottle of that and then take another small bottle, put a little bit of Dr. Bronner's and dilute that, and you have a really strong amount of soap that lasts a long time. But I still take MSM every day. No, I'm taking time off. Haven't really done any in a while. just been really trying to focus in on the magnesium oil and just choosing that supplement, really letting that ride and see what that can do. Um, I think it's really important, and obviously, I had a couple years where I just pounded MSM like every single day, like 4 tablespoons a day. So ever since then, I've definitely kind of backed off. What do I think about bottled water? Obviously, if it's in plastic, not really a good idea because it's leaching. I mean, it's basically like tea. It's like a plastic tea. A friend of mine actually calls he actually calls it titty water because of the estrogenic effects from the plastic, pulling into the bottle. Yeah, it's funny. I'll be like, dude, you need to go to the spring. And he'll say, yeah, dude, all I got's this titty water. I gotta go to the spring. I gotta fill up. But I mean, you gotta do the best that you can. If you can't get local spring water, then you gotta just start to look at, okay, well, what's the next best option? Because not everyone can get to a spring. Not everyone's lucky. So it's not a matter of this versus this, but just what's the best that I can do. Can I get spring water delivered? Can I go to a spring? Can I get my friend to go to a spring for me? Okay, if I can't, okay, what's the best filter? What's the best situation that I can do here? So that's really the way I would look at it. Let's see, what are some other questions? Have I ever done ayahuasca? No. Do I know anything about Agnus castus on females? I have not heard of it. Let's see. How often do I meditate or astral project? I meditate probably 5 times a week. Sometimes I'll go every single day, but sometimes I'll feel like I need to take some time off, because meditation can be pretty intense on your nervous system. So taking a day or 2 of rest can be important. And there was a few years where I was like so dogmatic. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't meditate today, and like stress out and like, wait, I'm stressing about meditating, so why should I? Why should I do that? So anyways, a little bit of meditation is good, but if you do, an hour every single day, sometimes it's good to take a break. So for me, I try to do, 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week. It just depends. How often do I astral project? Not really much anymore. Just because, I don't know, I'm just trying to focus more on earthly things and being more grounded and more in my body rather than less in my body. Just because I spent so many years like not being in the body. So I'm just, that's really where I'm focusing on more. What herbs do I take every day? You're going to hate this, but it just depends. Gynostemma is in there, definitely. Hoshu I've been really digging a lot lately, especially the new 16:1 stuff that I have on Hyperion. That stuff is amazing. So I've been hitting those 2 pretty hard. So I don't really look at it, I just think, okay, what do I want? What do I feel? What's in the mood today? And I have a lot of really cool stuff in my kitchen, my cabinet that I play around with, so I just sort of, base it day by day. What led me to the world of tonic herbs and healthy eating? Long story short, feeling like crap all the time. Like I said, being 40 pounds plus overweight, being depressed, having a lot of anxiety and anger and bitterness and resentment, feeling lost, feeling just totally clueless about my life in general. That led me to want to make a change, to want to try something different, to want to branch out. So that's the short story. Do I think it would work to combine DMSO with magnesium oil? Never used DMSO. So I would definitely try it out. From what I've heard, it definitely boosts, potentiates absorption. So yeah, how much longer am I going to be on? Why are you bored? No, I don't know. Maybe another, I don't know. We'll see. I'm starting to get a little thirsty, but I can go for a while. At least another half hour or so. But yeah, I'm going to be posting the recording. Let's see. Should you take vitamin C with reishi? I mean, if you can, it's not necessarily a must, but if you have it around and you can do it, then why not try it out and see if it can potentiate and boost it for you. One of my thoughts on vaporizing herbs. Um, it's better than smoking, I guess. I'm not really advocating anything. I think if you're gonna use cannabis in any way, a much bigger fan of eating it, either blending it up in an elixir with coconut oil and hot tea, or making an oil extraction or a tincture. I think that's a better way to use it. But yeah, let's see. What do I think about rebounding? Pretty cool, and seems to be pretty amazing for your lymphatic system. I personally never really done it. I mean, I jumped on a trampoline a lot as a kid, but never really approached rebounding as an exercise just because I already have, my own program. But for people who are looking for a program or need to, get their lymphatic system going or really need to get in shape or need something that's quick and easy, definitely an awesome thing. How important is it to eat healthy when using herbs? I think it's important to eat healthy no matter what. Like, it's kind of like, why would you want to put something low quality into your body? Like, that should be your number one priority, is quality. And I don't necessarily look at healthy in like this rigid box. It's more so about quality and what's the best option here. And to sort of get into diets and like rigid things is helpful as a guide for a little bit, but once you get into real life situations, it becomes a little bit of a hindrance. So just always focus on quality, getting the best that you can, the cleanest that you can, and then eating right for your metabolism, your metabolic type. Do I use the I Ching on a regular basis? Almost every day. I did every day, 2 or 3 times a day for a while, but I do it pretty regularly now. There's one book that I like called The I Ching or Book of Changes by Brian Brown Walker. This is pretty cool. It's a good, short, quick introduction sort of thing, but it has really profound stuff. And he actually has an app on the iPad and the iPhone and the Android, and I just got it, and it's awesome. And he has all of his books in app format. It's really cool. I was really excited to find it, so you should definitely check those out if you have an Android or whatever it is, or iPhone, iPad, whatever. Let's see. Do I do oil pulling? I've done it before, but I don't really do it regularly. What are my thoughts on teas versus extracts for people on a budget? If you have a really small amount of time, obviously buying loose herbs is fine. I mean, I did it for years when I was just living on a student, part-time employee sort of paycheck, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you're getting the herbs into your system and you're enjoying the process, it's fine. And there's some quality sites that offer bulk herbs, and you're not going to get quite the potency of a concentrated extract, but there's still going to be benefits. There's still going to be beneficial things. So if that's all you can do, it's definitely better than nothing. So I would definitely recommend it. And that's really the whole thing, is not necessarily like, how can I fit this ideal, but like, what's my best option? What can I do? What's the best thing for me? And sort of going from there. Do I value daily sun exposure for vitamin D? Yeah, I think getting outside, getting in nature, and getting in the sun is something I could definitely do more of. Spending a little bit too much time in front of the computer, but we're all working on stuff. So yeah, definitely getting out in the sun, getting out in nature, taking a walk in the woods. It's all really important stuff and is really beneficial on a lot of levels. Is the brand Solar Ray any good? I mean, it depends on the product. My thoughts on zinc: yeah, you can have too much zinc, depending on how you're supplementing or depending on what you're doing. So usually with things like that, it's just sort of really getting in tune with your gut and getting in tune with what your body craves, getting out of what your mind says, oh my god, I have to take this, oh my god, I have to take this, but starting to realize, like, okay, what's my body saying? Kind of like you wake up in the morning or you are about to go to a meal and your body's like, oh, I really want that, and you just really crave it. Starting to tune into that a little bit more. St. John's wort can be really beneficial. You just have to get the right part of the plant. because there's there's the root, there's the stem, there's the flower, there's the sap the flower produces. So there's always different parts. So you have to make sure you're getting the part that actually has the MAOIs and has the active constituents, and it's harvested at the right time. So really, it can work. You just have to get a quality product. So that's all I can really say. I don't know any more about that. I don't really remember because it's been a long time since I studied that herb, and I don't take it. So yeah, again, just make sure you're getting the right part of the plant that has the things that you're looking for. How much sugar do I consume on a daily basis? Really, usually none, or not very little at all. By sugar, for me, I mean coconut sugar or coconut nectar. That's really the only sweetener that I use. And I usually have like a tablespoon a day, in an elixir. And that's really it. I don't really, I guess I have like I'll have like a protein bar or something, and sometimes that has, like agave or some sort of sugar in it. So just, those two things, and that's really about it most of the time. Do I eat fruit? Not really. I just don't really care for it. I mean, I like berries, and in the summertime when it's when it's like berry season, that's pretty cool. But for me, I don't really like fruit in the way it makes me feel, because I get sort of high and then I crash. So I just don't really rock it out too much. I mean, fruit's fine, it's great, but yeah, exactly. So pretty much less sweet, less sugar is the better. This is a good rule of thumb. Do I make a lot of tinctures? Not really anymore. I pretty much just take all of my own extracts. And if I want an herb, I just sort of have it produced in an extract form. So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. Have I ever tried salvia? No. There's actually a Chinese herb called salvia as well. Any new products I'm thinking about? Yeah, I've definitely got some new products in the works. Really exciting stuff as usual, but can't really release that now, can I? Grains. Which grains do I like? Quinoa is probably the best, in my opinion, or lentils, or wild rice. But with grains, you always want to make sure they're soaked and sprouted, because that gets rid of the phytic acid and gets rid of those things which leach minerals from the body, makes it much more digestible and easy to use. You can get it already soaked and sprouted from Whole Foods and from places online, pretty easy, and that's really the way to go. Thoughts on gluten? Most people are really could use less of it. I think as a culture we're literally overdone with like gluten and sugar and fructose corn syrup and soda and all these things, and really the less is better. And I think it's beneficial to go a while without really taking flours and wheats and all this stuff, just to get it out of your body so you can figure out what life is like without it. And then if you're out somewhere, you're going to go eat out, you want to have a little bit of this or that, it's not really a big deal. But for general everyday consumption, it's really not worth it. Yeah, buckwheat's okay too. My thoughts on milk: do I drink it? No. I've hated milk since I was a little kid. My parents used to make me drink it, and it just made me gag. If you're going to consume any sort of dairy products, raw, local, grass-fed, unpasteurized is really the best, and that's all I'd recommend. I like sometimes like raw milk yogurt or like raw milk cheese or things like that. That's cool, but it doesn't really make up a big part of my diet. There was definitely a time where I ate a lot of it, but I'm not really a big fan too much anymore. I pretty much just try to eat a lot of vegetables and then just a little bit of animal protein in there to sort of like balance it out. A little quinoa, a little rice, or a little lentils in there as well. What's my thoughts on? Am I chi sensitive? Can you feel energy from plants and people? Is that something I've worked on achieving? There was a time in my life where I was very, quote, sensitive, but really it's not really like too cool of a place to live. Because what's the point of being like so sensitive? Because after a while it's debilitating, and after a while it's sort of this weird trip. So, I mean, we all are sensitive. We all can feel things. It's just a matter of tuning into our intuition, tuning into our gut, and really starting to shut off the chatter and getting more present and more in our body. So really, long story short, the best way to get high or develop intuition or sensitivities or achieve higher states of consciousness, it's not getting tripped out, it's not getting spaced out, it's not getting high, it's getting embodied. It's getting in the body. Because our body is what connects us to nature. It's what connects us to the world around us. Not this weird imagination land, no, but being embodied. No, I don't mean sitting on the couch pounding beers and like eating horribly. No, I mean creating a state in your body where energy is flowing freely and you're actually having health. So hopefully that answers a lot. What kind of meats? Again, quality is paramount on that. Organic, local, grass-fed, an animal that actually lived a good life and was treated the way it was supposed to be treated, ate food that it was designed to eat, etc. And really, you know, it's good to just find local farmers markets and do it there. See the people who are giving you your food, and even if you want to take it further, go to the farm, see where your food's coming from, and really get out of this whole sort of industrial food complex where you think, oh, I'm healthy, I'm just gonna go to Whole Foods and they'll give me everything I need. In reality, it's just stuff shipped from all over the world, picked prematurely, and yeah, it's just, that's fine and that's beneficial in a lot of ways, but in reality we want to get back to something that's real and a little more like realistic in the sense that we can, oh yeah, there's where it comes from. I see the person growing it, and you can have this relationship, this bond, which is pretty cool. Where do I shop? You know, like everyone, go to the natural health food store around here. But for a lot of the stuff, I try to get it from local farmers markets and local farms. And there's a store called the Root Cellar in Louisville that basically sources everything from local farms. So I just go there. I can get pretty much everything I need from local farms. So that's a really fun thing that I started to get more into this year, is like, how can I eat pretty much as I can from the local environment. Do I have a garden? Do I grow my own produce? No, not yet, because I still live in an apartment and I don't have my own yard, though it's something that's becoming more and more attractive and something I'll definitely get into. Will I be going on tour? Yes, I would like to do that this year and start to tour around and talk and give lectures and yeah, just have fun doing that. So definitely be on the lookout, and there'll be more stuff about that, obviously. Do I make a living with all my knowledge? How do I make money? I made a video about this back in like September, but I make my living, I guess, from doing this. Talking to people and helping people and sharing information, whether that's through Hyperion Herbs or Hyperion TV. You know, that's really how I earn my money. And also doing private one-on-one strategy sessions, consultations. That's really that's where it all comes from. Let's see. Someone working on trying to build muscle, what herbs do I recommend? Probably depends on the person, but in a generic sense, cordyceps, polyrachis, hushabu, astragalus, those would be top 4 for putting on muscle. Someone's like trying to get professional, like really hardcore, and they're at a pretty peak balanced level, maybe things like pine pollen, deer antler, things like that. But again, just really fine-tuned specific. Best ways to boost testosterone: eat well, sleep well, exercise well, and then throw in supplements. One thing that a lot of people don't realize, and I'll share this with you, is polyrachis. So people think testosterone, they think tribulus or deer antler or pine pollen, but really polyrachis is really profound for the endocrine system. And I'll tell you this story. A client of mine is a bodybuilder, and he was coming off of a cycle of exogenous testosterone. I didn't know this at the time, he just told me the story. So usually when he's coming off of this cycle, basically he said his testicles shrink and atrophy because they just shut down and stop producing hormones. But he started taking the polyrachis towards the end of his cycle, and what happened was no testicular atrophy, meaning his testicles did not shut off, meaning his body didn't stop producing the hormones. So he deduced that, wow, this polyrachis is really keeping my hormones in balance and in check, and keeping my body producing what it needs to produce. Cool story. And then I think for a lot of my high androgen levels that I had last year, I attributed pretty much to Ant. You know, obviously exercising well and sleeping and eating well, massive, important. What are the side effects of Hu Shu Wu? Usually none. You know, side effects are very rare. Some people who have really sensitive or weak digestion can get, you know, loose stools or gas or indigestion. But that's really all I've ever seen or heard. That's really the extent of the side effect, but that can be mitigated by either just taking less or just realizing maybe I need to build up my digestion or my spleen energy before hitting this herb because it's not balancing. And that's really rare, and I haven't seen too much about that, but that's really the only side effect that has been reported. Let's see, what else? What else we got? Have I talked to Dr. Chang about the Schizandra berry juice? Yeah, it's really awesome. It's a great product. I actually have some in the other room. It's just I lost a lot of them in shipment. You know, this is a glass bottle. It was like $30. I lost probably at least 70 of those in shipment, which means I really lost like 140 because they broke and then I had to replace them. So yeah, it was bad news. But it's a great product, and you can order it from them directly. When am I going to shave? I don't know. I mean, I'll trim my beard, but I'll probably keep it going. And is my facial hair thick because of my Hu Shu Wu? I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's been a work in progress for a couple of years now, and it's really like finally starting to come in. Never been able to grow a beard until now. What are my thoughts on nootropics? Can be helpful. I wouldn't rely on them as a crutch. I would use them intermittently and in situations in which you really needed them. I've taken aniracetam. That's that, and I've done like 5-HTP and L-theanine and GABA and fish oil, and that's all that comes to mind right now. But I've hit those, and I definitely can feel a buzz from them. But for me, I already do tonics and I already meditate and do all these things. So actually, really, the best thing for the brain would be the brain on blue-green algae extract. Now that I'm thinking of it, this is more of a food, and it really can get things going in the brain, and that's what I would check it out. Yeah. Oh yeah, the super dose of the E3 Live. That was an interesting day. Let's say that. Let's see. What is the top herb against Candida? Really, a whole host of things, meaning minimizing sugar, eating fermented cultured foods, taking medicinal mushrooms, chaga, reishi, those things that really balance and fine-tune the immune system. If you want to get really, really aggressive, there's like oregano oil and garlic extract and all of these things. But those you have to be a little more careful with because they are so aggressive, because they can wipe things out. You can also just, focus more on the positive, meaning getting your diet imbalanced and starting to mass dose on probiotics. Which, if you want a good probiotic company, customprobiotics.com has like head and shoulders the best probiotics I've ever seen. What do I think about Eukalmia? Pretty awesome, and I might actually carry it soon because I like it a lot. Good kidney yang tonic, good for the ligaments, the tendons, and the joints. I like it. Let's see, advice for female hormone imbalances. It's a little bit trickier, and I haven't had that much experience with it. I would say hormone test first to see what's going on. From there, maca is okay, and there's a formula also called bupleurum and peony, which I'll type it out here. That's a Chinese herbal formula that I've heard has been good for hormonal stuff. Or also Bupleurum and Dong Guai. Those are two Chinese herbal formulas, but again, it's not really my area of expertise for obvious reasons. So check out those formulas and the other stuff that I just mentioned. What else we got? Who's got a question? Let's see. Do I plan to visit China someday? Yeah, definitely. Is taking Polyricus too much? Doesn't seem like it. Polyricus with fish oil and St. John's wort and multivitamins, some herbs and antioxidant? No, doesn't seem like too much. If you start to take too much, you'll know. You'll feel off, you'll feel imbalanced, you'll feel just not right, and you'll know, maybe I need to back off, maybe I need to chill out a little bit. But it's funny, like when we engage in things which are inherently negative, people don't really stop and think, maybe I shouldn't drink those 10 beers, maybe I should just have one. Maybe I shouldn't eat 20 pieces of pie or 18 pieces of pizza. Maybe I should just have one. But when it comes to being healthy, people are like, what if I eat too many vegetables? What if I eat too much green juice? People get all freaked out about doing too much good things. So just realize, like, the majority of this stuff is pretty safe when you're, obviously keeping in common sense dosages. And if you take too much or you start to feel imbalanced, you'll know, and you can just stop or adjust. So that's what I would say. I've ever hung out with Truth Calkins? Yeah, a few times. My thoughts on chronic sinusitis. Neti pot, definitely every day would be a good idea, and you could even infuse that with different herbs or probiotics if it's a fungal thing or an infection thing. It's a tricky area because you're having to get up in there, but obviously like things like chaga would probably be the top sort of immune medicinal mushroom. Do I use neti pot every day? Not every single day, but most, a couple times a week or whenever I really feel it. There's definitely a phase when I use it every single day, and I definitely like to use it every single day. So I'm, a really huge fan of that. Let's see, you want to talk recommendations for digestive problems, hard stool, and slight constipation. Definitely drink more water, or drink better water, perhaps, that's more absorbable by your body. Also things like chia seeds, things like aloe vera, things like slippery elm bark, and then also fermented foods, cultured foods will be your friend in that department. Also learning to breathe fully, because our lungs and our large intestine are connected, and also when we're breathing, our diaphragm massages and stimulates our organs, so definitely deep breathing and exercise will help out as well. So let's see, what do we got? How about aloe and a neti pot to repair sinus damage from smoking? Never done it, but you want to make sure that there's not going to be any chunks in it. If it's going to be smooth, try it out. If it really hurts, then you'll know, but just try it and let me know. Why are there ads when I'm talking? Because my premium version of the account wasn't activated in time, but next time it will, and there will be no ads. Promise, it'll be much better, higher quality. What are my thoughts on nitric oxide? It's obviously really important. Dude won the Nobel Prize, Dr. Ignatius, I believe was his name, for discovering nitric oxide. It's really important for the cardiovascular system. What one people don't really realize is that gynostemma actually increases nitric oxide pretty well, as does cordyceps. So those are cool herbs for that. Nitric oxide, good combinations. L-arginine and pine bark can also do that. So yeah, nitric oxide is important in a lot of functions for men. Let's see. No, I don't think people are meant to eat their boogers. What do I want in life? To be happy and express myself, I guess. Taking melatonin, yeah, that's cool if you need it. I took it for a while and it really helped out with sleep. So yeah, I mean, if you need it, I would definitely not lean on it as a crutch and start to look at, okay, well, what's the root cause? Do I need acupuncture? Or do I need to start to balance out deeper issues? Um, so let's see, oh man, this chat keeps getting all messed up. Um, what sites do I recommend for kombucha? It's funny you mentioned that. I've actually, in the last couple weeks, really cracked the code on making ridiculously good homemade kombucha. Been making kombucha for years, and it's always just sucked. It's always just been nasty, and I've always been like, man, let me just go buy those GTs because this stuff is gross. But finally, made some stuff that just puts all of the store-bought stuff to shame, and it's so good. So I'm going to be doing some videos on that to basically demonstrate this, and yes, there's going to be recordings posted. But Kombucha Camp, Kombucha KAMP, is a good site. That's where I got my scobies, and you can get a whole starter kit on there. It's awesome and makes really good kombucha, and I've been flavoring it and doing all kinds of cool stuff with it. Really, really tasty. So yeah, kombucha, love it. Do I ever cultivate wild cordyceps? Can it be found in America? I think there are some species that are found in America, but there's a lot different than the Chinese or the Tibetan versions. So I don't really know too much about it. I've yet to have wild cordyceps, seen them, but just yet to try them. Tendinitis could be probably related to the kidneys, or it could be the liver, depending on the person. So I would definitely look at those things and get with a practitioner to see what's going on in those areas, and then base a strategy from there. How often do I visit the dentist? Have I ever had dental work done? I haven't been to the dentist in like 2004, maybe 2003. Have I ever had dental work? Yeah, I had braces twice when I was a kid, hence my teeth. But I haven't done anything since. Fortunate to never have any cavities, which is freaking amazing considering all of the sugar and Gatorade and Mountain Dew and just garbage that I guzzled as a kid. Somehow I was able to make it out with no cavities. So yeah, I haven't had any dental work. How would I handle acne? I have to look at the person first, because it could be a whole host of different ideas, but it could be something coming from the gut, could be from the large intestine, either could be some heat or some stagnation, or maybe something from the liver or the blood. So obviously looking at things for that, it's then going back to the basics of, I would just look at, the body ecology diet. There's some great principles there for diet and dealing with fungus things and getting the colon clean. That's definitely like a good place to start. Do I take milk thistle? Not really anymore. I did for a while, but found it to be a little imbalancing because it is pretty powerful. Have I ever studied human anatomy? I took some classes in college and I have a book, and I study human anatomy like every day because I have a human anatomy. And when you do qigong or when you do yoga or something, you're getting in tune with the body, not from a book, but from what's actually going on and paying attention. So that's another reason why it's great to have these practices, because you can learn about the body from the body, not learning about the body from a book. Have you noticed a big change in health from consuming pine pollen on a regular basis? I did over a year ago when I took it, but I reached a point where my androgen levels were really high, so I haven't taken it since. And it's a cool substance. It's really interesting. It is nutritive, but I don't know that it's necessarily essential, depending on the your hormonal level, hormonal balance of the person. What do I think of 5-hour energy? I don't. I mean, I don't know. I probably wouldn't touch it. I think if I needed like a stimulant, I'd probably just do like yerba mate or green tea and some like B vitamins and be done with it, if I really need that. Have I heard of Gary Kleiman's Qigong and Neigong systems? I think, if I remember, it's that dude like lives in Chicago, and he's has interesting things to say, but I don't know that I would personally invest time and energy studying with him. Just my personal opinion. Hushiwu capsules, what's the difference between the powder and capsules? Well, if it's my stuff, there's no difference. It's the it's the same stuff, it's just put in a capsule. There's no fillers or flow agents or any byproducts, it's just the same 16-to-1 extract, just put in a capsule. Have I ever come across an extraterrestrial? Maybe. But I don't know if we really want to talk about that. There's been a few occasions. I've seen UFOs on a few, I think like two times maybe I've seen UFOs, 2 or 3, I don't remember. And then you have lots of interesting experiences with lucid dreaming and astral travel and out-of-body experiences. So yeah, if you want me to talk about it, it depends on how you define an alien. Let's put it that way. I'll leave it. Yeah, whatever. Let's see. Argentina, nice. How have I heard of? Yeah, I answered the Qigong and Neigong thing already. Let's see. Oh, okay, it wasn't like a reptilian shapeshifter or anything like that. It was just basically about the size of a beach ball, and it was silver and mercurial looking, metallic, and like floating in the air, and just gave me a bunch of information about RNA and DNA and sort of the structure of physical reality. Because do I ever get picked on because I don't look masculine but like a nerd? Nice. Was this after a meditation session? No, it was actually after being out of body while I was sleeping, and I came back and there it was. How do I get creative ideas? I don't know. It just happens. It's one time it's there, and then now it is. It's just sort of like being focused. You think about, well, what do I want? What am I after? What's my take on wild varieties of reishi extract? Honestly, the only quote-unquote real wild reishi extract is the liquid stuff from dragon herbs. The stuff from Shaman Shack and from Jing herbs is not wild because the price of getting a wild extract is really high. And Tea Garden is just fortunate in a lot of ways because his wife is Chinese and her family's in the herbal world, and he's just done a lot, so he has insider sort of deals. So hate to really like break the barrier on that, but you know, it's the dubious thing with herbs. You can say anything's like wild crafted because there's no regulation, there's no agency that's going to knock on your door and say, hi, that herb you're selling is not wild crafted. Because there's no definition, it's dubious, there's no regulation. So literally, you know, anyone can come out with a product and say it's wild crafted. But usually what that means is they can't say it's organic, or they can't say some other word that people are programmed to love. So they say wild crafted as sort of a marketing ploy. That being said, it's still a good product, it's still a great product, I've taken it, it's awesome. So that's really about all I can say about the wild stuff. Can I send you some free Polyrachis? No. Not right now, anyways. Do I see myself as successful in the health business? I mean, yes, I guess. I mean, I don't really look at it that way. I just think about, I have goals, I have things that I want to do, and things that I want to express, and I'm just expressing them. Do I ever slip and eat junk food? I mean, not really. Like if I'm out to eat somewhere and I like want to, like if I'm out at a really nice restaurant and I want to eat some dessert, I might have some dessert. Or if I'm out, you know, at say this place by here called Cake Flour, it's like a natural organic bakery, and if I want to eat there, I might grab something and have a little bite of something there, but I don't really, you know, make a career out of it. I don't make it a huge part of my diet. And usually I end up thinking, man, that was not that great, was it? Because that's what happens after you remove sort of stuff from your diet, and then you go back to it, you're like, man, what was I thinking? How did I used to love this stuff? But you know, I sometimes will bake, you know, bake cookies or bake things at home myself. But again, it's just like, you know, almond flour, coconut sugar, um, local eggs, or just like really high quality, legitimate food ingredients. So it's not really junk food, it's actually food. Which again is the whole thing. If you're going to eat something, eat food. Have I had any experiences with camellia pollen? No, it's like the pollen from the tea family. No, but it's probably cool. It has similar properties as pollens do. It's really nutritive. Dandruff, balding. I don't know, man. Balding is tricky because there's a lot of factors. It could be an energetic, nutritional thing, or it could just be purely hereditary. So with things like that, it's not really like you're just going to take a pill and take it and it's just going to magically go away. I would basically just do some research online and start to experiment with different remedies for that, because like, I haven't had too much experience with it, so I can't really say one way or the other. Thoughts on coffee? I talked about that earlier. Long story short, if you want to use it a little bit every now and again, it's fine, but realize it's not a tonic. There will be side effects, and it's not something which you should basically mass every day. Is it possible to manifest chi into reality? Yeah, you do it every day. When you have a thought and then you do something, that's manifesting chi in reality, because everything is chi. Do I believe in synchronicities? Yeah, definitely. I've had massive amounts of synchronicities, and really the more present and grounded and rooted you get in your body and in your practice, you get, you just experience more of them. How do I know what the best type of binaural beat frequency is? I don't know. I would just check out this company called Equisync, or I'll type it in for you. Or if you have like an iPad or an iPod, then check out the Brainwave app on there. What do I think about binaural sounds? Do they work? Yes, they're awesome. I use them all the time. I've used them pretty much not every day, but whenever I meditate over the last couple of years, I've used it a lot. Definitely enjoy it a lot. Can you slow perception of time throughout the day? Yeah, I mean, depending on how you focus, because we all create our own energy, or not our own energy, but our own sense of time. And look up Einstein's theories on this. Look up Michio Kaku's. I'll type it out. He has like a whole documentary series that he did on time, talking about the different natures of time and how we all influence and create it. Pretty cool stuff. So what I think about string theory, pretty interesting, fascinating stuff. I've ever had Chipotle, the fast food, once, quite a while ago. Let's see. What's your experience with the Shilajit? Haven't had Omega Organics. I have had the stuff from Ultimate Superfoods. Never really noticed too much from it. So, I mean, it's all, you read about it, it sounds good, but I've never really noticed anything from it, to be honest. My thoughts about weed, you missed out, dude. I went on about that earlier. The most potent herbal blend I've ever made, and what happened? That's a question. Well, I will say one time I took an entire bottle of reishi, like 90 capsules. That was pretty powerful. I've made quite a few drinks or elixirs for myself that have literally put me on the floor, given me like almost near-death, like ego-dissolving experiences. Can I compact chi into a ball in my hands and shoot it out to affect objects? No, not really. Not really too interested in it, because you can't, you gotta walk before you can run. So, things like that, step by step, you can't really just think you're gonna develop it overnight. What happened when I took the reishi? I'd say I felt really good for quite a while and almost cried from just experiencing all kinds of different emotions. Is it possible to do that though? Yeah, it's possible, but how likely is it? Really unlikely. How much work is it going to take? More than either of us can possibly conceive of. What's the best way to handle being bullied? Um, Probably by not being there, by getting in a different situation. That's what I would say. Can we hear more about crazy experiences on YouTube? I don't know. There's just a lot of them. I can tell you that. That would be a whole other channel. But definitely on live things like this, I'll be a little more free with what I'll say. Because there's a lot of stuff that I just can't really say or can't really do on the YouTube video. But things like this, definitely a little more free. Where do I want to go speaking tour? Definitely US first, but really, cool places where people will have me. Write a book. I already done that. I already written some books. Do I use coconut oil topically? Yes, every day. Thoughts on crystal meth? Oh man, good one. Yeah, smoothie book. Yeah, there's that one. There's also a couple other ones that I've written, and a couple other in the works actually. There's one called what did I call it? The Longevity Blueprint. It's actually in the works right now. I've been recording it I've been working on it since like November. No, actually, I outlined it first in September and completed it a month or so ago, and it'll be out sometime this year. It's just I'm putting in a lot of work. Basically condenses a lot of the stuff. Because if you think about it, to be honest, if you look at my YouTube videos and all the podcasts, the things I put out, they're really just little itty bitty nuggets of the deeper things that I'm trying to get at. So what I've done with the book is really brought out all of that deep stuff and all the stuff I'm really, really trying to say and really trying to get at. So the book is really going to be, at this point, going to be kind of my big crowning piece, and it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited to get it out. As for the writing an ebook about my crazy experiences, yeah. Do I think Uri Geller could bend spoons with his mind? I mean, maybe. This depends. I wouldn't rule it out, and I've seen people do really crazy things, so we don't really know what's possible. Where am I from originally? New Albany, Indiana, which is like 15 minutes from Louisville, Kentucky. Can I explain the internal electric jing vibration that you could develop through the practice of Neigong? I mean, it's all chi, however you want to look at it. Just maybe a little different flavor of chi. But like I said, you gotta walk before you can run. So if you don't build a solid foundation, your house is gonna topple over. So I mean, how can we expect energy to flow through our body if our posture is constricted or our blood isn't flowing and all these foundational pieces aren't there? Where can you find my books? HyperionHerbs.com has pretty much all of them, I think. And then more will be coming out soon. Oh, Amazon has a few as well. Have I ever cleared my chakras? I mean, yes and no. It's not a permanent thing. You don't just do it once and you're done. I mean, life is a constant process of transformation and flow. So it's not like this one and done sort of thing. What do I think about breatharians? I mean, I would say that it's possible. Do I think that modern people can really do it? No, not really. I mean, it's just a totally different thing. But is it humanly possible? Have people done it in history? Probably. Let's see. What do I think about cooked food versus raw food? I answered that earlier. Let's see. Am I rich or in the 99%? I think we're all rich. I mean, we're sitting here on a computer in the year 2012, live video streaming. So we're all pretty rich if you think about it. It doesn't really put too much weight in the whole Occupy This movement or 1%, 99% thing. I mean, it's nothing new. You know, humans have been behaving like that for a long time. It's just we're happen to be more aware of it. So really, the number one thing is not really get stuck and complain, but just do something and create something with your life and contribute. Do I have a regular job? No. How long do I desire to live for? I don't know. When I'm bored and I'm ready to check out, then do I think anything's going to happen on December 12th? No, not really. I mean, people will probably throw crazy parties and like have a lot of crazy stuff to do, but cosmically, I don't know. I mean, I don't think anything's really going to happen that hasn't already happened. But at the end of the day, we don't really know until we get there. Do I eat eggs? Yes. What do I think about reincarnation? I don't really think about it too much, to be honest. Is it possible? Yeah, probably. An easy way to understand it is just looking more about memes in thought forms and genetic hereditary patterns that are passed on. And to me, that's a little more tangible and a little more rooted. What is Fa Shen and Fa Li? I don't know. I would just Google it, honestly. What I think about Rosicrucian alchemy, I don't really know too much about it. Do I think Reishi protects neurotransmitters from oxidation, sort of like MAOIs? Theoretically, it could, but I've never seen any research that would say that. I mean, it does have, lipid para-oxidation effects, meaning it has antioxidant properties which can protect our nervous system and protect lipids in our body. So could that influence neurotransmitters? Perhaps. Have I planned on releasing any herbal formulas in the future? Perhaps, yeah. What do I know about internal alchemy? Life is a process of alchemy, and internal alchemy. I mean, it's happening all the time. How often do I cleanse the colon? Every morning. Colon hydrotherapy is important. I did a series, a couple years ago. To me, it seems to be more of a maintenance thing. If you're new and you really need to cleanse and clean house, then yeah, definitely rock it out. We need to do it all the time. Not necessarily if you eat well and you take care of yourself. I'm a big fan of enemas. I've never done an enema, to be honest. The idea of putting something in my anus has never really been too appropriate. What do I think about skipping breakfast? I think breakfast, honestly, is really important because our spleen energy, our digestive energy, is strongest from 7 to 11 a.m. And really, the first meal sort of sets the tone for the day. If we can get our blood sugar balanced like first thing, then our day is going to sort of be a lot smoother. That's what I found in my own experience. But yeah, if you're going to do something like the warrior diet and that whole program, that's fine. Just for me, for my metabolism, and for what I like to do and how I like to structure my day, I just don't enjoy it. What did I eat today? I don't know. What did I eat today? It's going to be really boring. Oh yeah, I had water, obviously. I had some chlorella. Had some probiotics. And then I had some leftover quinoa and some leftover sauteed ground beef with dandelion greens and onions and some kimchi. Had all that together. And then for lunch, I had, for dinner, I had a rabbit dish from this restaurant called the Mayan Cafe, which is all local organic stuff sourced from local farms. I think that's all I've had today, to be honest. And water, like coconut water. I ate a little bit lighter today because I just went to a sauna, and I woke up late, so I just didn't have time to have that morning elixir. Where do I get my chlorella and how do I take it? I basically, I just imported it myself actually from Taiwan. But Ultimate Superfoods has good stuff. Othership Products has good stuff. Just make sure it's cracked cell wall. Yes, I eat lunch. Like I said, I only ate lunch and dinner today because I woke up at like 11:30, which is not really normal. Can I show you some Bagua or Tai Chi? No, I can't because I'm not allowed to. Breathing exercises. A friend of mine is a yoga teacher and a body worker, and he's really incredible. And I'm trying to get him to record some breathing stuff to so I can share that with you, because he shared it with me and it was like totally badass. So I'm trying to get him to do that and record it to me, so I'll give it to you. Yes, quinoa is awesome. Can I flex my bicep? I did earlier, man. You missed it. Yeah, kimchi is fermented vegetables. How do I get interested in all the Chinese stuff? I don't know. I just got. Do I have a Facebook? Yes, Facebook. I have a Facebook. Brandon Gilbert. If you type in my name on Facebook, you'll see it. Is telepathy possible? Yes, it happens all the time. We just don't realize it. What was I talking about? Have I ever thought about getting tattoos? Not really. I don't really want it. I thought about it, but for me, I'm just not really into it. I mean, I'm not against it. I just never really found something I wanted to dig, put on my own body. So how did I get into Chinese stuff? Bruce Lee, honestly. I mean, I was just always into like Star Wars and kung fu movies and all this kind of stuff as a kid, and it just resonated. I mean, some things just resonate with people and make sense. For me, it makes sense, so I enjoy it and I follow it. And that's really all it comes down to, is just following what you like. Did I take any business classes, or I learned about it on my own? Learned about it all on my own. Never took any business classes in college, and I don't really see the point, honestly. I mean, you want to learn business from people who know about business, who are successful with it. Let's see. Any recommendations on turmeric? Yeah, if you want to use turmeric, cook with it. Make sure you cook it and saute it in your stuff, and it's a really great spice. You can get it online. Mountain Rose Herbs has it, good quality. Do I get telepathic messages from spirits? Everyone does, all the time. I mean, it just depends on how you define that. I mean, what is intuition? What is creativity? What is insight? What is a flash of inspiration? What are dreams? You know, you have to ask yourself, what is that? And is that a telepathic? You know, what is a gut feeling? What is a feeling sense? What is walking into a situation and knowing or feeling something that's going to happen? Do I believe in angels? Kind of the same thing. Like, how do you define that? I mean, these are just different things, different aspects of chi or different aspects of energy. And yeah, am I getting worn out yet? No, not really. Time's going by pretty fast. Thoughts on Zoloft? Not a big fan, honestly. I mean, if you're on pharmaceuticals, there's a whole host of other things that need to happen to come off of that. But pharmaceuticals really, I mean, if you just look at the statistics, just look at how they help people, and that's really all you need to do. Ever had a boring 8 to 5 job? Yeah, most of my life. I had my first job when I was like 13, and I worked regularly until I was like 22. Am I a prophet? No. Grounding? Yes, I sleep on a grounded sheet, and I have one on my computer too. So I have a grounded little mouse pad on my computer that I use whenever I'm on that, and then I have a grounding sheet when I sleep in my bed. I think that stuff's really cool. It's really interesting technology, and I like to do it. Is rhodiola a tonic or a stimulant? A little bit of both. I don't think it's quite an everyday sort of thing. It's more of a intermittent sort of thing, or using every once in a while, or use it for a little bit, a small period of time. Magnesium chloride hexahydrate compared to magnesium chloride. I don't know really the difference. I mean, magnesium oil versus magnesium whatever the other is, I don't really know. For me, magnesium oil is pretty potent, pretty effective. Good cordyceps in Australia. I have, I ship to Australia, and I have some clients in Australia, wholesale clients that you might be able to hook up with. So if you want to email me at the site, that would be good. What I think about Fukushima radiation damage and contamination? Sucks. I mean, bad news for the planet, from what we can tell. But really, just I don't know what we can do. It's kind of bad news, and in the grand scheme of things, we don't really know. Um, in the grand scheme of things, we don't really know if it's good or bad. My sign my moon is in, I don't remember. Um, Recognition of hyperhidrosis, excessive sweat on the hands, could be a yin deficiency. If it's just the hands, I don't know. If it's like your whole body is busting out in sweat and you feel really hot, that's a totally different thing. Blocking out the mind thought clutter, more like getting used to it because it's part of being a human being. But if you want to slow down the mind, slow down the body, slow down the breath, and the mind will follow that. So things like Tai Chi, Qigong meditation, breathing meditation, all that stuff can help and facilitate that. And the more calmer we can be over the long term, the more thoughts will start to slow down. Can you reverse balding? I talked about that earlier. It's kind of a tricky thing. Could be hereditary, it could be nutritional. It's kind of hard, and I haven't really seen too much, but if you Google around, I've seen some people who have reversed that. Do I sleep on a pillow? Yeah. It's really small and doesn't really do too much. I've done experiments with just like sleeping on my arm or like not using a pillow. I kind of go back and forth. Do I think sleeping on like a big pillow that's gonna like jack your head up? Yeah, that's really not that good of an idea, but maybe something small is a little bit better. I usually sleep on my side, honestly. Let's see, cold hands. Really just want to move. Was I born in Louisville and what time? Yeah, trying to look at my chart, huh? Should talk to me on somewhere private if you want to know that, or just guess. There's only 24 hours and however many minutes in the day. I'll get it right. Have I been to Peru or tried ayahuasca? No. What's UStream? Do you have to pay for this? No, it's free. You can watch. What workouts do I do? Just Bagua and Qigong, just kind of one and the same. And then I just started doing again pull-ups and chin-ups, and that's pretty much it. I also do a lot of stuff with my staff, which is Bagua thing. I don't run. I don't really enjoy running. I did most of my life, ran cross-country and track, but then definitely stopped, and then I tried it again for a little bit a couple years ago, but it just like beats up my back, beats up the hamstrings. It's not a big fan. But I mean, if you like running and you enjoy it and it's what you want to do for exercise, I'm not going to tell you shouldn't. It's just, there's side effects for every exercise program. I mean, let's be realistic. Let's see, how old am I? 27. How do I feel about a high carb diet? High carb diet works for a really small amount of people who have a metabolism which burns carbohydrates as a primary fuel source. Very little people have that metabolic type, but if you have it, then rock it out, because it's just about eating right for your type. How often do I sleep? At once a day. Just as much as I need, 7 to 9, 10 hours, just depends on how I feel. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. Running on pavement, yeah, is bad. Running on barefoot and grass is a little bit better. What's my take on the really raw, clear agave? Definitely better than the other stuff. But, a lot of people say it is destructive as high fructose corn syrup. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I think agave I don't really care for. I think, raw local honey is better, or coconut sugar for me, both better. Can you overdose on magnesium oil? Never heard of it, never seen anyone doing it. Do I eat oats? I used to. Oatmeal is pretty tasty, and I do like to eat that, but I haven't in quite a while. Isn't honey bee vomit? Maybe, I guess, in some way, but how is that bad? Because, people can knock bees all they want, but without bees, we would all be dead. Is it cheaper to grow your own medicine herbs than buying them? Yeah, if you can. You can grow lots of cool stuff at home, and it's, pretty fun and interesting, something that I look forward to doing. Thoughts on chipped teeth? Thought about regrowing and rebuilding chipped teeth? Um, that's a tough one. Nothing really comes to mind right now. Sorry about that. Oh, actually, I think oat straw, nettle, and horsetail. Those things supposed to be good for the bones and healing bones, regenerating bones. So I would check that out. Do I drink my elixirs above the raw temperature? Yeah, every day, pretty much. How can you figure out my metabolic type? There's tests online that you can take, or really, I mean, you just have to pay attention to how you feel. Eat a high carb meal and notice how you feel. Do you feel satiated for hours, totally even, or do you feel really good and then you crash? Do you feel bloated? Do you feel heavy? That's really what it comes down to, is how does a predominantly fat meal, predominantly protein meal, predominantly carbohydrate meal, how do those make you feel? And then starting to play with the different ratios of each. Am I against animal products? No. Am I against factory farm, just abomination animal products? Yeah. Again, with animal products, it's quality is paramount. What's my appearance with the blood type? I think I'm not a big fan of it, because they say, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that, but they don't say why. It's like, why can one person eat coconut but the other person can't? This doesn't really make too much sense. Loading up on soy protein, not really a big deal. Monogamy versus polygamy or polyamory, whatever your choice is. I mean, if you agree to that with other people and that's what you are into, then rock it out. Can bacon be healthy? I guess. I don't know. I mean, depends on where it comes from and how it's processed and how it's done. And what I think about the paleo diet, I think there's some things beneficial about it, because for most people, leaving out the carbohydrates and leaving out dairy products, a lot of people have allergies to that. That can be beneficial for a lot of people. Sticking to it at 100%, not really a huge fan of it. But the keto diet, I'm not really familiar with what that is. Have I ever tried colloidal silver? No, never tried it. What do I think about meditating with crystals? I've done like crystal bowl meditations, like around here locally they have crystal bowl things. I've gone to that, and that usually knocks me out like pretty quick, but that's really my only experience. Do I juice? Personally, I don't, but I'll go and buy one at the juice bar and drink a green juice from there, and that's usually pretty tasty. Do I believe that it will ever be a world government, or is there an agenda? Hard to tell, man. I mean, people that have power and control typically only want more power and control. So it's really hard to say. How is my Dunwood ratio compared to dragon herbs? Both are really good, to be quite honest. Mine is dual extracted, which theirs is only hot water extracted. Mine is a 10-to-1, and I think theirs might only be an 8-to-1. But at the end of the day, they're both pretty good. So that's the only difference I can see. Oh, and mine's cheaper too. So those are the three differences. Let's see, is my reishi from Japan? No, but basically Japanese reishi is equivalent to Dunwood reishi. It's the same process. I've ever tried placenta. I've had deer placenta, the product from Dragon Herbs. I've had that plenty of times. Do I like Reiki? I've had it a few times. It's pretty cool. Definitely felt energy from it, felt a buzz from it, felt changes from it. So, is my cordyceps from China? Yeah, it is from China. My experience with placenta, it's kind of unnecessary, honestly. I don't think it's really that useful for people, and it's kind of weird taking that from the deer. So for that reason, I don't think it's that awesome. Golden Air or Frame Builder are both pretty solid formulas from what I can see. Would I drink my own urine? Probably not, to be honest. What herbs would go well with Romania and asparagus root for sleep? Try gynostemma, maybe. Um, Talk about affirmations and how effective they are. Depends on what the affirmation is. Um, have I tested my products for radioactivity? Yes, they are tested and they're all free. Things come from different parts of China, etc. When will I get more reishi extract in stock? What is today? Thursday? Maybe tomorrow or Monday at the latest. Affirmations. It's an important thing, but it's not an end-all be-all. It's important to get your mind right so you can start to make different decisions and see different opportunities, but by no means are positive affirmations going to give you a goal, because you still have to take action. You still have to do something. You still have to change and exhibit different energies and different actions. But they are helpful, and they are helpful to a degree as long as you're not lying to yourself. If you're in $200,000 of debt and you're saying, I'm a millionaire, it's a little bit of a stretch, and it's a little bit of your lying to yourself. So I do think they're helpful and they're important just to keep your mind focused. Do you have kids? No. How do you increase the chance of Kundalini experience? Well, first, set your intention, set your focus, think about what a Kundalini experience might be like. Obviously, keep your health at a peak level, eat well, practice, and learn to relax and let go of stress. That's the big thing. What do I think about muscle building products out there, like in GNC? Most of it's full of additives and artificial stuff that you don't really need. There can be some high quality things, but most of it is not really that worth it. Have I ever taken acid? Nope. Am I a fan of raw cacao? Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm not like a huge enthusiast, but it's a fun, interesting food. Opinion on the Audrey Clarity scam that's been going on. I took it a little bit, and it did weird stuff to the water that you can definitely see. But from the very beginning, I just had this weird feeling about it. I remember when I first saw it, I was just kind of like, something's a little weird about this. Just the people that were hyping and promoting and all the stuff about it, it was just, yeah, not a huge fan of it. Really not surprised as to what happened about it. It's a bit chaotic. Try a theme or topic next time. My first time, like I said, I'm just trying to figure this out, and it is what it is. So next time it's going to be ad-free. It's going to be more focused. It's going to be a lot better. So I plan to do these on a regular basis because it's fun, and we can keep doing it. AFA, spirulina, blue-green algae. Well, AFA is blue-green algae. Spirulina, chlorella, they're all awesome. Let's put it that way. The AFA is a little more for the nervous system and the brain, but I mean, honestly, they're all awesome, and I would take all of them. I'm a huge fan of the algae in general, whether it's chlorella or blue-green algae or spirulina or whatever. Let's see. Who's my favorite Pokemon? I have no idea. What about seaweeds like kelp and dulse? Yes, those are really important food groups as well. I think algae, seaweeds, and fermented vegetables are really important food groups, and seaweeds are something which I'd like to eat more of. Do I play any games? Yeah, I play Euchre online, which is a card game. That's my favorite game to play. Halo 3 is sometimes with my friend. Occasionally I'll play that, but that's pretty much it. Do you feel disappointed that people seem to be dependent on my advice or opinions instead of searching the answers for themselves? No. Because we all seek advice, and I don't try to position myself as this all-knowing being. I'm just, I don't know, just a person, a human being doing what I like to do and expressing myself. So I'm happy to help people, but at the end of the day, we're all responsible for ourselves. I'm not responsible for you, you're not responsible for me, and it's up to us to make decisions and choices for ourselves. Do I watch TV? I watch TV shows, but I don't actually have a TV. I just watch everything on the iMac. Favorite TV shows would be the Avatar cartoon series, both versions. Let's see, Family Guy is pretty funny. It's a lot of shows that I like. Chopped on the Food Network, I like that show a lot. Who's my favorite guru? I don't know what that means. Depends on what is a guru. I don't know. What's the best raw cacao? I like the stuff from Ultimate Superfoods, but you know they're all pretty good. Um, the new season is the new Avatar season is ridiculous. If you haven't seen the cartoon Avatar, you need to see it. Favorite movies? Probably The Matrix is a great one, or Limitless is awesome. I've been watching all of the Marvel superhero movies lately, like the Avengers and Captain America and all of those movies. And those are pretty interesting and fun too. Moringa is really nutritious, and I liked it, but it really upset my digestion. It was a little too damp and kind of gave me indigestion. I've seen the movie The Peaceful Warrior is pretty interesting. Let's see. Have I ever used a Ouija board? No. Let's see what we got here. What are some good what are some good tonic herbs for someone to start with who's a very beginner? I would say definitely gynostemma would be probably the easiest herb for someone to start with, or holy basil. Those are both awesome, cheap, easy, taste good, really powerful. So those would be like probably the two easiest to just start with, and just build from there. How much coconut oil do I use every day? Like maybe a tablespoon and maybe a little bit to cook with, and then however much on my skin. What style of yoga? Is that my blog? I don't know. Is that my blog? Let me look. Wow, that is my blog. That's really, really old, though. I'll tell you that much. I haven't... Yeah, wow, that's really old. Good job finding that, dude. Fibromyalgia. Is there help for it? Yeah. I mean, there's definitely things you can do. There's things you can do for a lot of things. But that's, a very complex matter, and if you really wanted to talk about that, I would just email me so we can talk about it specifically. Is Mountain Rose Herbs Chlorella pretty good? Probably, because most of their stuff is really good. You just want to make sure that it's cracked cell wall. Do I have a blog or a Facebook page? Yes. If you go to HyperionHerbs.com, there's the blog and my Facebook page and my YouTube page, which has all three, and you can get... Is it a waste of money to make your own reishi tea from whole mushrooms? No, it's not a waste of money. It's not going to be as strong as an extract, but it's going to have some effects. It's going to have some benefits. So yeah, definitely rock it out. What kind of herbs would you recommend for rheumatoid arthritis? Obviously, I'm not a doctor, and nothing I've said at all in the last 2 hours is medical advice. It's not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. Only your doctor can do that. But rheumatoid arthritis, as I understand it, has a lot to do with the immune system, and things like herbs which are balancing to the immune system can be helpful, especially in autoimmune conditions. So checking out like the body ecology diet to get good dietary principles, and then medicinal mushrooms and the immune tonics like aloe vera also could be beneficial. So that's what I would look at. Will I be doing this again? Yeah, I'll do it again. Maybe like twice a month or every week, or I don't know. We'll see. It's just see how it goes. Let's see. Cool. Thanks for the kind words. It's pretty cool to do this. Actually, it's pretty fun. Never done this before, and there's some. There's been some speed bumps, but next time it will be ad free. I promise. I didn't know they were gonna hiss with so many ads. It's kind of dumb. Where could you find knowledge on how to farm reishi? This is from my man Joe Hampton. Appreciate you, Joe. Good question. So how to farm reishi? Again, check out my friend Magnificent Mushrooms on Facebook. He will, he knows a lot about this sort of thing and can tell you everything you need to know. So definitely do that. How do you know if you overdo it on Wushu Wu? Gas, indigestion, upset stomach, loose stools, diarrhea, feeling just off. That's how you know when you've overdone it. So I mean, just pay attention to your body and pay attention to those symptoms. What's my opinion on fasting and juice fasting to overcome anxiety and depression? Probably wouldn't be my first recommendation for those things, but if you feel like it's the thing that's going to help and it's coming from inside and you think, oh, I got to do this, then check it out. Juicing in general can be helpful, but things like that, it's going to be more so working with the mind and building a foundation with diet and exercise and supplements to really facilitate that. Next question, I'm trying to figure out a career goal so I can direct my time and energy accordingly, but each time I think of something, I feel that pursuing it would force me to cut out any other interest in the process. Really, to that, I would just say that pick something that you like and you enjoy and just start working that and start moving forward with that, and realize you don't have to do it forever. You're not bound to it. It's not a prison. You know, that you are free to do other things. You're free to explore other things at the same time. And by getting good at one thing, it helps you get good at other things, because you learn to master mastery. You learn to get good at getting good at things, and you start to build a skill that you can apply to other things. So that's what I would say, and that's what I would recommend with that. Do I plan on restocking the Shizandra juice? I answered that earlier. The answer is no, but you can get it from them still. I'm not restocking it because I lost like a lot of the bottles in shipment to damages. Have I ever hallucinated audio or visuals while meditating? Yeah, probably, but not in quite a while, because it's kind of a distraction. It's kind of like, it's interesting at first because you're like, oh my god, it's working. But it really, in the end, it's just a distraction, and usually best to just be avoided. Recommend for someone who's over 50 who has hot flashes? I mean, the person just said maca, but that can sometimes go both ways. I've seen women take it and it's been helpful. I've seen women take it and it just made it a little bit worse. So it's really, it's a tough call for that one. I don't know, it's a little complicated, and I don't think that I could answer it right now. So if you want to email me, we can definitely talk about that a little bit more, and I can sit and put a little more thought into it. Do I have organic colostrum? No, but you can get some from Sir Thrival, and they have good stuff. I like their stuff and take it personally. Thoughts on infrared sauna? 2 thumbs up. I actually just did one today. I think they're a great way to detox and cleanse, so I definitely enjoy it. And how to find it, just Google around in your area, start to ask around, and just through serendipity you might find it. Do I believe in evolution? I mean, yes and no. Do I believe in Darwinian theory? I mean, who really knows? I don't necessarily put too much weight in it either way, because we don't really know, because we weren't there. And it doesn't really concern me. What I do see and understand is that we we all are growing and evolving all the time. Obviously, look at where we are now versus where we are 10 years ago, and on and on and on. So obviously, we're all growing and expanding. So that does have merit, and that does have value. How do I feel about the positive effects of dancing? Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're into and that's what you like, and any way to move your body and move energy and express energy through your body, definitely awesome. Let's see, how do I feel about IKEA? I have some lamps from there, I guess. It's okay. I mean, it's kind of a trip going there because it's so big. It's like an alternate universe. Let's see, belly fat. movement, exercise, sweating, herbal formulas that remove dampness and stimulate the spleen qi, and then also, obviously eating well, and then, infrared sauna, stuff like that can help facilitate that. Do I have my own sauna? No, but I go somewhere here in Louisville. There's a couple places. When will I be getting whey protein back in stock? Soon, hopefully. I just ran out actually, and I'm in the process of getting it produced, so it'll probably be at least a few weeks. So yeah, I'm gonna take a second and go into the other room and get some water. So post a couple questions and I'll answer them in like 30 seconds when I get back. Alright, sorry about that. I was really, really thirsty. Alright. Are there any supplements that I take daily? Probably chlorella I take daily. Let's see. Chlorella is definitely top on the list. I like probiotics a lot. Yeah, that's probably the only one I really take every single day. Let's see. Omega-3s, yeah, I kind of go off and on. I'll hit fish oil pretty hardcore for a while and then back off and then come on it and back off. But I think it's beneficial. Probiotics make your body stop producing them? No. Our body does have a process of down regulation, but that's really for hormones. Bacteria, our body doesn't produce bacteria. Bacteria produce our body because we're 10 times more bacteria than we are human cells. So there's really there's no water, there's no weight to that. Have I tried Bikram yoga? Yeah. That's a good way to get a sweat on. It's a good workout. It's a good way to get fit and get more flexible. I'm not really too much of a fan of it for long-term practice, but if you like it and you want to do it, then definitely do it, and there can be some benefits. Do I think about Tai Chi? I think it's badass, and I think people should have some sort of practice. If you don't like Tai Chi, obviously there's a lot of other alternatives, and things like Tai Chi and Qigong, you don't just do them once and you walk out an enlightened master. It takes time and energy and regularity and repetition. You don't just take it and then have all your diseases cured. No, it's something you have to do and cultivate over time. Let's see. Yes, I do have videos playing guitars. Does the body have a finite amount of neurotransmitters? I mean, yes and no, because our body's pulling that, because the hormones and the neurotransmitters is kind of like our Jing energy, hormonal thing. So in some sense there's a finite amount, but that's over the lifespan. You can deplete yourself through stress or work, poor lifestyle habits and drug abuse. You can deplete yourself of that, but you can replenish them and rebuild them too. Do I have any pets? Personally, I don't. My parents have 3 dogs, which I guess are kind of mine, kind of not, I guess. But yeah, so yes and no, I have 3 dogs. It's 5:05 in Norway. Nice. Let's see. Wow, a lot of stuff. Going to see Prince tonight? Have fun, dude. You must be on the West Coast because it's 11 o'clock here. Can you run out of dopamine? I mean, not really, but you can get depleted. I mean, I doubt you could get like 0. If you start to really get low on dopamine, then you start to get shakes and your nervous system starts to run all over the place. But you can supplement that, as herbs and supplements and diet. Your body can start to fill that in. Is there a better protein powder than whey? Yes and no. I mean, it just depends like what you're into, what your metabolism is. For me, whey protein works really well, but for other people, they like rice protein, they like pea protein, they like hemp protein. You know, I don't personally, I don't like those. I don't like the way they taste or the way they make me feel. But other people don't like whey protein. They don't like the way it makes them feel. So there's really no best. It's just like, well, what do you like? When you take walks, do you ever interact with animals that you encounter? I mean, not really. They usually run away. That's kind of what animals do. I did see a lot of frogs the other day. I was meditating the other day, and like a bird almost landed, like it was like flying. I kept hearing this thing by my head. I was like, what is that? But I was like doing standing meditation, and I didn't open my eyes, and I kept hearing this like thing by my head, and I kept feeling like something was whizzing past me. Then I look over, and there's like a freaking bird like trying to land on my shoulder. That was pretty crazy. So that was the only thing that I can remember. Anyways, there's been lots of experiences. There was one experience where I felt like my dog was almost talking to me. Not through words, but I was like massaging my dog, you know, and sort of doing, like rubbing her leg, you know, where she had arthritis and different spots on her that were in pain. So I was like massaging and rubbing it, and then I would stop, and then she would like bite another part of herself, and then I would rub that, and then stop, and then she would bite another part, and then I would rub that, and it was just on and on and on. So it was kind of like a communication thing. It's kind of cool. But yeah, we just have to realize that animals communicate differently than we do. Should you take herbs on an empty stomach for the best results? Usually. You know, if you eat a big meal and take herbs, it's gonna kick in slower. You're not gonna feel it as much. So you know, empty stomach is a little bit better. Have I ever thought about being a doctor? No. Yeah, I've thought about, you know, being a practitioner of some sort, but never like a doctor. You know, I would be down for doing like an apprenticeship to study Chinese medicine, but that's probably the extent of it. When I first started taking reishi mushrooms, did I notice any negative effects? Or can reishi exacerbate conditions? I think in rare cases it can bring things to the surface, which, do you call that exacerbating, or do you call that bringing to the surface or putting something front and center? Because usually the first part of making a change is awareness, being aware of it and seeing it. So sometimes things get worse before they get better, and oftentimes that's part of the healing process. So in that case, sometimes things can get a little bit worse, but is it getting worse, or are you just getting more aware of it, or are you just being more cognizant of it? Sort of a slippery slope. Let's see. Have I ever considered doing an interview or talk with Truth? Not really. I mean, I think Truth has some good things to say, but there's a lot of instances in which I don't really agree with him, or I don't really align with what he says. But yeah, he still has some good things to say, and has brought forth a lot of cool information and possibilities. So when I get hungry at night, what's my preferred late night snack? I will share with you one thing. Where's my bag? Hold on one second. Alright, I'll show you a few things. First is this bar, which is a green superfood bar, chocolate peanut butter, made by Amazing Grass. This tastes like a Snickers bar, but it's not. It's obviously not raw, it's not whatever, but it's organic, and it has, you know, the Amazing Grass greens blend in it. So if you want something sweet that's like actually real food and actually good for you, this stuff is really good. And again, it tastes like a Snickers bar. It's crazy. So that's pretty cool. Secondly, J-Bar is decent. You know, it's got whey protein, like cashew, coconut. It's got xylitol. It's okay. Third, there's this other bar called the Quest Bar, which this stuff is okay. It's like totally sugar-free. It's just Lohan and stevia. Yeah, it's just okay. I don't know if I'd really recommend it. Hence, I haven't eaten this in a long time. But again, this bar, awesome. Do I eat only organic? I mean, I don't really, not rigid about it, but it's definitely important. It's really more so about quality, and quality isn't always organic, because organic is just this artificial construct, and there's things that are way better than organic that exist and that are available. What's my favorite band or type of music? Favorite band? Man, I don't know. It's a hard decision. The Deftones have been one of my favorite bands for like 10 years or so. I really like Bonobo. I like the Cinematic Orchestra. I like Indian classical music. I like Chinese classical music. I like classical music in general. Jimi Hendrix is good, all that stuff. I just go through a lot of phases. Sometimes I just don't really like music because I want my mind to be clear. Yeah. So what's my opinion on carob? It's okay. I mean, it's kind of tastes pretty good. I just never really use it. But it is nutritious. It has good flavor, so if you like it, then definitely use it. What do I do when I have a headache? Tylenol? I don't really get headaches, honestly. I haven't had one in quite a while, and if I do have a headache, usually just, I don't know, usually just goes away. Or I drink water or something. Have you ever had a problem with nicotine? No. Luckily, I never smoked cigarettes. I never got into that. Do I vote? No. I vote with my life. Am I sensitive to theobromine, caffeine, or theophylline? Yeah, I'm a little sensitive to that stuff, but not overtly. I just choose to not really get into it and really only save it for certain, rare instances where I might need a boost like that. Let's see, what else we got here? Do I believe in the value of spiritual experiences? If so, are there any that you've had? I think there is value in spiritual experiences for some people who are interested or open to that aspect of reality. Some people, it's not their path, it's not what they're interested in, it's not what they want to do, and that's fine. Some people, it's what they're interested in, it's what they like to explore, so it's a little more relevant to them. It's important to really understand and experience that, we believe space-time and individuality are real. In reality, they're not really that real, and they're just concepts that we made up. So for that reason, having, quote, spiritual experiences to get outside of that is really beneficial so we can start to have that sense of mystery and wonder about life again, and start to see that, wait, we don't have everything figured out. Not everything fits our little equations. Not everything fits into our scientific box. So hopefully that answers that. Do I think that if I only eat natural food, that if I eat something else, I will vomit because my stomach's more delicate? Realistically, no. But people will definitely program themselves to think that way. Oh my god, I ate cooked food, I'm gonna puke. It's like, it's food. Like, relax. It's just food. If you eat really garbage or low quality food, will you feel off? Potentially, yeah, you could feel off. But is it going to kill you? Probably not. Or you're going to get sick? Probably not. Because, sometimes you go out to restaurants and it's not the best food you want. But you have to do the best that you have to do. Have I ever used a light and sound machine? No, I don't believe I have. Let's see. But the whole idea, if you eat this way or do this way, you somehow become like this delicate being. It's just, why would you want to imagine yourself into a weaker state? Wouldn't you want to see yourself as getting stronger? Meaning, yeah, I'm so strong that I can handle a little bit of junk food, it's not going to faze me. Or I can handle a little bit of this and it's not going to hurt me. Rather than saying, oh my god, I ate this, I'm going to die, it's so bad. Like, why would you want to make yourself weaker? Because isn't health about getting stronger and getting more vital and more vigorous? Yeah, the whole I'm so sensitive thing is just really silly. It's like, if you're so sensitive, your nervous system's probably imbalanced. And you probably need to build that up. Because being sensitive is cool, but to what point? Have I ever had a headache from my air purifier? No, never. What are my feelings about antidepressants? I mean, it depends on how far off you are. If someone's really, really, really imbalanced and really, really far off, then it might be a beneficial thing to do. But that's a really, that's a rare situation, and that's up to each individual to make that decision. It's not my call to say what's good or bad, because it's not my life. If it were me, I wouldn't do it. I would seek natural things, and I would exhaust all natural alternatives before doing something like that. Have I heard of Pronat or Protandim? Never. I did have a talk with Zach. Well, I haven't done anything in quite a while, so that was pretty fun. It was a long time ago. The best herb for adrenal fatigue with oral nicotine, I would say probably magnesium oil is beneficial, and like gynostemma or eleuthero or cordyceps. Those are beneficial for the adrenals. Let's see. What are gems and gem elixirs? I have no idea. I mean, gems like crystals and stones and all that sort of thing, but don't really know anything. Would I ever smoke a tobacco pipe for the fun of it? Probably not. If I was in like a Native American ceremony or some sort of South American shamanistic ceremony, maybe. But other than that, no. Any suggestions on how to jumpstart weight loss? Yeah, definitely exercise, movement, and infrared saunas, hot and cold showers, cold baths, thermogenic herbs, and body ecology diet principles would probably all be really helpful. Ever tried Yohimbe? Nope. Do I ever drink alcohol? That was answered that earlier. What is my perspective on 2012 in the time of ascension? 2012. Do I think? Actually, I did a video on that. Yeah, so I would just look at the video I did on the 2012 and the whole ascension thing. Do I think? What I do want to say about that is people get into this idea where they think there's going to be a time and everyone's going to wake up and everyone's going to be enlightened and everyone's going to have this higher consciousness. But the reality of this, vast majority of people don't give a shit about higher consciousness. You could care less about achieving any of that stuff. And people think like, oh, I think this is cool, so everyone else will too, or everyone else should too. It's kind of like, hey brother, have you heard the good word? Hey brother, are you saved? It's like, it's kind of that same Messiah mentality, which I did a video on that too, as far as the Messiah. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool if you or I care, or you or I are into it, but that doesn't mean that we have the right to tell everyone else that they should as well. So I think there's that. There's also the fact that humanity typically exists as a bell curve, meaning there's a very small piece of the population that is far outside of it, and the vast majority of people are just the vast majority of people. It's not necessarily good or bad, it's just kind of the way reality has been set up. So to try to say that, oh, everyone's going to be enlightened and everyone's going to open their heart chakra and everyone's going to have cosmic consciousness, maybe, but probably not, because it's not really what people really want or really care about. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe that's what we want. But that's just us. But are things changing at an insanely fast rate? Definitely. Are things changing in ways which we had never believed of? Definitely. Do we know what's going to happen? No. But it's just really exciting to witness, and it's an exciting time to be alive. If you want to learn more about that, definitely check out this book called Abundance by, I'll type it right now actually, Peter Diamandis. I think that's his last name. I would check out that book. It's really awesome about sort of the technological advancements that can actually help to save the planet rather than destroy it. So definitely check that out. I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon because we're almost at 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna go for about a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna go. Aliens, bro. Yeah. How do I feel about masturbation? Sex is better. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, ancient aliens. That's right. Infrared saunas work basically by heating the body, increasing metabolism, increasing movement in the body. It helps out with, cellular metabolism. That's my general understanding. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. And that show is ridiculous. Oh, man. Saunas are awesome in general, but I think infrared is probably a little bit better for sort of cleansing and detoxification. Literally a few more minutes. If anyone has a few more. How do I think the pyramids were constructed? It's a mystery. Maybe sound, maybe humans, maybe technology we don't understand. It's a pretty big mystery. Is it good to dry brush daily? Yeah, I need to get back on that again because I start to get a little ashy. But yeah, once you start to do that regularly, you really feel how good it feels. Any experience with candle focus? Yeah, it's called Tritaka. Basically, it's an Indian or Ayurvedic or yogic exercise, and it's pretty badass. I would definitely recommend it. It's fun to do. It's really good for your eyes, and really good for concentration and for helping out with your third eye. David Lynch and Transcendental Meditation. The whole TM thing is a little cultish for me, a little too pyramid-y, with the whole college and the Maharishi University, whatever. And I'm sure it's cool, but it just seems like with a little bit too culty and structured and rigid for my take. Let's see. Last questions that we'll have here. Dr. Steve in the house. All right, man. Have a good night. It's only been 2.5 hours. Mushroom Science. Yeah, they have some good products. They're actually good mushrooms that are hot water extracted, which is important and essential when you're taking medicinal mushrooms. So yeah, they have good stuff. They have good products. Obviously, I like my stuff better because I created it and run it together, but their stuff is good too. Ho'oponopono. Yeah, I've read it, heard about it, but not really dug into it. The idea is pretty cool, and there's a lot of good ideas in there. Do I watch MMA? No, but a guy that I'm friends with is actually a good fighter, and he's he's really good, and he's coming up, and he's about to have a big fight coming up soon. Do I still take astaxanthin? No, but I've been attracted to it lately. It's really good stuff. For astaxanthin, I would just go to like the vitamin shop and check out what they have. They have usually pretty good stuff, pretty clean products. So that's it. What the hell is brain fog? I don't know. Can reishi help with brain fog? I don't know. I would say just exercise and move and meditate and get things moving will help you out. Um, make more videos on products. I try to keep the videos on products to a minimum because there's always the one dude who's like, oh my god, you're always just trying to sell products. I'm like, yeah, okay, I have 400 videos, 5 of them are about products, and I'm only trying to sell products. Like, whatever, dude. I mean, whatever. There's so much to point out and so much to say, but you know, whatever. There's always someone. Let's see. Holy basil, best extracts or tea. You can make really good teas out of it that you can really feel. So I personally like the tea. Never really experimented with extracts too much, but because I've always just liked the tea and had good results from the tea. So that is 2.5 hours gone by like that. I meant to do like an hour. So pretty cool for people checking it out. I'll do this again, and there will be no ads because ads are kind of annoying. So yeah, this will be recorded and I'll put it up on YouTube and check it out. So it's been fun. Thanks for coming, and some pretty good questions, pretty silly questions. It's pretty fun. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, and talk to you later.